Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and I was gonna do a video on the WWE wrestlers that got released, and I kind of waited a little bit because I thought there might be something that would happen different. So, obviously, yeah, stuff a little bit more got released, and contracts ended, stuff like that. So we'll go over it and put them into a category of where we think they're gonna go next, because obviously they're gonna another step in their fence and it'd be nice to support them. So we start off with Kyrie Sane. Now this one is definitely the most disappointing one and sad one for me. I love Kyrie Sane. She's just she's just great. I mean, I really hate that this has happened to her. But obviously, you don't want to see anybody be released, but this one definitely felt like the most shocking because other people in the different side of things, you can see that there was like, they weren't being used or there wasn't the momentum behind the people. So I could see it's certain stuff like being the reason, but this definitely was kind of the crazier one. I think she'll go back to Japan. Really, I don't know what promotion she would go back to because a lot of people feel Stardom, but they also feel like Marigold could be an option depending on how her relationship it is with Rossi. I do think Marigold would probably be the better option if it was just a decision type thing. Stardom is in kind of a renaissance of trying to get some younger people in there, and I think having somebody kind of older, like in Kyrie's case, I think could possibly kind of just put her into another like kind of quicksand type thing where she's not gonna have a lot of time to do certain stuff because they're really focused on trying to get this next gen of people out there because they need it. They really do need it. So. I think Marigold would be the full option, or just kind of honestly go talk to Sari. I think her working with Sari being like part of her organization and kind of working some independent freelancing stuff could possibly be the thing. Just get her in front of a bunch of people and put on those matches that she definitely can do. So yeah, I definitely think Japan is the area for her. Then we got the Motor City Machine Guns. I honestly could see a lot of different stuff. I meant to put this as TNA. Why did it go back to? Why did it go to back to WWE? This was somebody else's list, but I just realized that. Honestly, the Motor City Machine Guns could definitely go back to TNA. I do feel like because AEW was so close to wanting to sign them last time, and it just came down to their decision, I do think they're gonna go there. I think they have that options to have a pretty well diverse sense of like tag teams in AEW, and they could get a good push and have some good matches there. So I could see them doing that. I do feel like AEW has a similar problem to WWE with tag team wrestling, is that they have a lot of tag teams and that they just don't have enough time to push all of them, and that's even with uh WWE having multiple tag team belts. Then we get Aleister Black. I feel like he kind of burned his bridge with, AEW, so I can't really see him going back. I do think he might just kind of have like a indie type thing. I think he should talk to Karrion Kross. I think he's kind of one of those guys that could be in a very similar position to him by, going into the indies and having just a huge momentum swing because there's so many people that, you know, that are in there. Sorry, my dog decided to run into the wrapping paper. So I definitely think he would be indies, and I think you would also put Zelina Vega in the same thing. I think it's going to be a Karrion Kross Scarlet type thing where they're going to be a package deal and do some different stuff that way. I don't see them really like doing a lot that first year or doing a ton. It's like it's either not that much or just an absolute megaton. It's kind of how it goes. I think that's how Karrion Kross was. Then we get the whole entire Wyatt Sick. I feel like piecing them out would be the best. I feel like also adding another category of just you know I don't want to say maybe retire or not no wrestling. I think is going to be an option here. I don't think it's going to be for all of them as that happens by Enki always gets stuck. But I don't feel Uncle Howdy, is going to come back. I feel like his whole gimmick and stuff is just kind of very WWE centric. I don't think it would really translate out, going with that. I don't really know about Nikki Cross. I feel like she definitely could, go for a smaller promotion. I could see her doing some of the runs in Japan, but I don't really think that's what it's going to be. So I'm going to put her there. I think Joe Gacy and Dexter Loomis will definitely be independent guys. I think they will definitely go out there and do stuff. And I think we'll put Eric Rowan in there too because I think he was already doing that before WWE brought him in. I can see them all still wrestling and doing different stuff. I don't think any of them probably will stay together. I think it'll be like all different stuff, but I think it could definitely work. Then we get Apollo Crews. Honestly, he's kind of a big candidate that I would say putting it in that TNA type thing. Kind of similar to a Cedric Alexander, where I think he had some solid matches. He was pretty well liked. He, did a lot of stuff that people liked in the WWE. He just really never got a push. He kind of had that heel push when he had the IC title, but I feel like that was still kind of not like just kind of a wholehearted like shove than anything because it wasn't like there was really going to be much that you could come from that, especially with like having a bodyguard, but that's a whole different thing. So I'm going to go with TNA. I think he's kind of a prime candidate. You could bring him in there and do something with, and he could actually have a pretty well good spot in the mid card to main event scene. I really do think he's qualified enough to be in there. Then we have Santos Escobar. I do definitely think like somewhere in like Mexico with some of those promotions, I think he has a decent pull to maybe get on the card. I could also see him like randomly just kind of re-signing with the WWE, but like under just the AAA side of things and doing something completely different, so he could kind of just get rid of that character that he or like at least the past of the character. But I'm gonna go with Indies. Next up is Alba Fire. I think she should absolutely do something. I feel like Eve would probably be a really good promotion in Europe that would work well for her. But I do kind of honestly think that her next stop should be Japan. I really think like a Stardom would be a really good spot. She like kind of what I said with Kyrie that they're trying to go a little bit younger, but I think with Alba Fire, it's just I think they don't need to worry about it as much. I think she should just have matches there and do stuff. Doesn't have to be title type stuff. Just kind of rebuild what she had in NXT UK. Then we have Chase U, Andre Chase. I really honestly don't know. I think it's kind of similar to the rest of the people that got released. Well, I say rest, it's just 2 cuts. And like he probably will have some appearances, but I don't really know if, his gimmick to his skill stuff is what they really want because obviously he was so gimmicky in NXT that like I think a lot of people may or may not even just like are aware of like what he can do in the ring because he's had some pretty solid matches and I think some of that could definitely help him out, but I think it's going to be that little bit of a steep hill decline. So I'm going to put it in Indies, but I could definitely see him not retire or like anymore or like doing much more wrestling. Then we got a Zoe Stark. I think she's a prime AEW candidate. I think she kind of fits a lot of the mold of the women there. If she obviously comes back healthy, I think she would be a perfect person for that division. I think she could definitely help out their mid card and even possibly the tag division if she could match with somebody. Just kind of her body type and skills and stuff, I think would work pretty well with that. Then we get Dante Chen, the measuring stick of Evolve. Honestly, I feel like he's kind of gonna have a little bit of a trouble because he was in NXT and WWE for so long that like you kind of are stuck in that type of thing where you're like you feel like you're like not like the product of WWE anymore, so you kind of have to just do something completely different and it's like where do you go with that? So I think that makes it a little bit harder for people like that. I'm gonna probably put him in the indies. I really could see him, doing a few things, but I couldn't really even put down a promotion that he fits in that would work really well for him. Next up is Tyra May Steele. I don't know. With her, I just really feel like, wrestling was something that she liked. I don't really know if it's like something that she absolutely wanted to do with her entire life. I don't really know her like that well. I couldn't tell you yes or no or even trying to say that's a thing, but I just think like from just kind of what we've seen on like LFG and stuff like that is that she just knew she was extremely talented in it. I can see her definitely doing some independent stuff. I think she would definitely be working with Booker T and Reality of Wrestling. She already has done stuff. I think she should do more there. And I could also see her doing something to get over to like, Japan and like possibly like I don't know if Stardom would be perfect, but just something like that where she could get some matches, even like Marvelous or So, something where she can match against some strength people, I think would be really good. Then we got Chris Island. I honestly, he's so young and stuff. I don't really know what you could be doing. I don't know if this is like something he wants to do because he was on LFG. He had worked in the PC. Like, does he want to be a wrestler, or is it just something that he enjoys? Because some people are just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna learn and do certain stuff and be a wrestler. But is it something that he actually wants to do? I guess we'll see. I would put it no or I don't know type of thing. Then we have this is I think it's Tyreek. Um, I'm gonna go independence. I'll also do a tag team partner here. I could see them sticking together. I definitely think they were a solid tag team. I just don't think they ever got the push that they deserved. Being part of like Wesley's faction, I think really could have done something, but then they started using them in Evolve, and I just think that was kind of where they should have not had them. They could have stayed on NXT. They should have had that opportunity to win those tag titles at some point. I think sometimes when they don't do that type of thing, it really kills a tag team with not having any momentum of being in the title picture. Thrill London, um, I don't know. I feel like he definitely could, do some independent shows and stuff like that. He kind of struggled on Evolve. They never really gave him like more than a 2 minute match, so I'm not gonna say anything about his skill because I really don't know. I know that he was supposed to be on LFG, I think, this year, so that's kind of a weird thing to see him, even though he's gonna be released at some point. So I'm gonna put him down here. I'm not really sure. Same thing with Serena Lipton. You know, she definitely had some promise on LFG, but not really having any type of push on NXT or even Evolve, I think, is a big red flag for that. Luca Cristofino, he said he's already retiring, so that one's an easy one. Malik Blade, I could see him possibly being like an AEW guy. He kind of has that look that he could possibly slide in there and work with a lot of the talent. He just has like a really good look to him of being a wrestler. I don't really know his skill level to everything because they never really used him, so it's kind of hard to say. Then we have Carly Bright. Honestly, she's kind of that prime example of being like the token like American or like European that a lot of like the Japanese organizations have. I could definitely see her in like Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling or something. So I'm gonna put her in Japan. I think it's a good spot. Tongaloa, I think is he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I think he could definitely go back. Same thing with JC Mateo, which is Jeff Cobb, obviously an absolute beast that the WWE just could not do anything with. And last but certainly not least, we have the New Day, kind of just being released because they wanted to be shortchanged money by the WWE, or the WWE wanted to shortchange the money, and so that's just messed up. I could definitely see them going over to AEW with there's a lot of tag teams that could really solidify like dream matches that we never got to see in other promotions. Yeah, I think that's kind of where it should be. I think they would get a decent bag there, and it kind of just makes sense. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. Tell me who you guys just absolutely hate and are gutted by. I definitely feel like obviously mine's Kyrie Sane. I think the New Day just kind of sucked because it's like not even that they just didn't want them. They just wanted to pay them less, which is just BS if they've already agreed to a deal. You got Roman Reigns getting $15 million. You could have cut that in half, and that would have saved a lot of people's jobs and a lot of different money. So just stuff like that is where you're going to have to pay attention to. But until next time, this has been Japan. Bye, guys.